In a galaxy far, far away. Bring it back to the...
Okay, so welcome to The Force Always. This is the review of episode 10, 11, and 12, season 2 of Andor. This is one of the last scenes that you would see in episode 12. Let's get off with straight off the bat, as Michael from Werribee loves me saying, Werribee South that is, so it's a different type of area, but let's get into it. Each episode, again, this week is going to be the same ranking, but all of them 9.5 out of 10, and I think generally, well, it's a general sort of consensus that it is a 9.5 out of 10 for 10, 11, and 12, and each episode. The standout episode, I think, was more episode 10. That was a bit more emotionally charged, a really good setup to the solid landing of this particular show. There was, it was such, anticipation. Even though we know so well as Star Wars fans, you've got to be really much a Star Wars fan to know where this is, to know why the stakes are so high. You really need to, I really do believe you need to get right into watching, the originals, which is 4, 5, and 6. So, episode 4, 5, and 6, and in Rogue One, which this leads into Rogue One. Strangely enough, funny enough, after I was watching this on Disney Plus Andor Season 2, it does have a suggestion in watching Rogue One, which makes sense. But you really do need to know what the anticipation is for, to really know why the stakes are so high. Essentially, in one word, as they put it, but I think it's two. But anyway, let's look at it as one word. But it's Death Star. It's all about this thing called the Death Star, which you may know what that is. It's a planet that destroys planets. And it's not just, a science fiction sort of thing in the fun of, or, to destroy, it's got a laser beam, but it really is all about the, fundamentals of freedom with people and life. That's why I think Star Wars really hits a lot of people, including myself, is there's a lot of realism with it in its sets, in its clothing, in its story, and in its mythology, and I just think it's it's such a well rounded type of show, Star Wars. But let's get back into 10, 11, and 12. I thought. There was a lot of... I think the biggest question for me would be, who is the baby born from that was Cassian Andor's girlfriend? Let's maybe girlfriend, or maybe just friend that is a girl that is... but I'd say there's a bit more to that, obviously. The baby would be interesting, who that person will become as a character in future possible Star Wars, which we may see or may hear, may know, or get to know, whatever. That was a very interesting, point there of mysteriousness of what could happen in the future. I don't know if it can reach to the point of where episode 9 left us, which is very long after, where this timeline is. Maybe it's possible, I don't know. We can only wait and see. But I just thought some of the photography, especially in these particular episodes, cut off like, eyes, and it had really sort of abstract sort of ways of presenting a shot. And I love that. That to me is just a very Quentin Tarantino and sort of Spike Lee sort of feel. I love that sort of artistic way of demonstrating something in a storytelling ideal, how you position the camera, but it also just gives it a very interesting looking, artistic to the canvas of what you see. So this is more of a subtle but solid end. 7, 8, 9 really showed us the light of this particular series. Everything before that was good, but it was just not hitting. It was probably the anticipation was just not too close enough. It was definitely well, presented. It was definitely great storytelling, great dialogue, but it seemed to be a little bit stretched out and a bit overly adult and losing the sense of Star Wars in a way. I do think the whole series has had a sense of Star Wars, but when you, especially these last 6 episodes, this whole season, to be honest, has a really just visual and even sound, sound design in the sense of Star Wars. Now, I'm not one that you must have certain characters appear to make it Star Wars. You must have lasers. You must have lightsabers. It's a plus. It sort of does give a Star Wars sense, but I think it's this story, the way it's been told, is actually very Star Wars and very, very, very good. Season 2, a standout. I think my favourite episode, I think a lot of people's favourite episode, is going to be episode 8 in season 2. I do think episode 10 is a lot of merit. Just the emotion of going up and high, and the high and lows and stuff like that just won't really grab people, especially how in 7, 8 and 9 did. But 10 and 11 and 12 episodes, that is, in Andor season 2, just to remind you, because all these numbers, my God, it's just a real solid but somber ending. It just gave, it really did stick to its own rules without allowing too much reliance on characters to make it sort of fun and exciting. This was so good. 9.5 out of 10 for these last 3 episodes, which was again 10, 11, and 12. Look, Andor itself, I'm going to say, is a 7 out of 10. That's seasons 1 and 2. Put together, 7 out of 10. It is a bit of a stretch. You do need to understand where you are in Star Wars. You can watch it with the interest of dialogue and just scenery, but it may intrigue you to watch other things. But I think coming outside, coming back in, that means going to Star Wars storyline, especially episodes 4, 5, and 6, which is the episodic saga, which is A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, then sort of maybe getting to go back into Rogue One and how that incorporated into Star Wars, and then going into these 2 seasons of Andor is how I would probably suggest to watch it. It's so 7 out of 10 generally for this Andor thing. Definitely great. I don't know how much rewatchable quality it is about this. I definitely will be rewatching season 2 more than likely than season 1. But yeah, I do wish that Star Wars does keep on creating different aspects in storytelling, like Andor is different. Obviously the prequels were different, the sequels were different, originals were different, with that still Star Wars understanding. And I think, in my humble opinion, Star Wars is a universe. That means there is many aspects to the universe that we know in this reality, but also can be incorporated in the Star Wars reality as well. Like, I really did appreciate, very unfortunate happenings, when someone is been taken advantage of illegally in a form of almost like a rape type scene, but it wasn't really rape. It was it was it suggested high of that. There was the lesbian, there's the gay, there's the all different types. To me, in my opinion, is how Star Wars should be taking things on. It's not a really popular opinion amongst the hardcore Star Wars fans presently, but I think it's just the universe is big in Star Wars and in our universe reality. But I think I love how they really explore it, and Andor really did stretch Star Wars to the limit in having it be just different, and it was great. I do love the regular Star Wars. I like irregular Star Wars. For example, The Last Jedi, is disappointing with a lot of people, and to me, to certain degrees, but still I really love the originality to that. We all embrace A New Hope, which is the very first Star Wars that ever came out. It really did come off with a big bang, quite literally. Just amazing Star Wars. I was just in these particular episodes, especially since 7, 8, 9, I've been really just wanting it not to end, and it just had to come to an end. Like, I was actually checking how much time that was left every time I was watching this, especially in these particular last episodes, the finale. And I was just wishing, I wish it was more. It was so enthralling just to watch this. Anyway, that is my review. It's sort of confusing with all these numbers, episodes, and titles and stuff like that. But just get to know this simply. Once again, Andor season 1 and 2 in my general ranking is 7 out of 10. These last 3 episodes, which was 10, 11, and 12 in season 2, the finale, was a 9.5 out of 10, each of them, and obviously generally. Anyway, that is my review this time. I'm actually going to see Dead Reckoning, Mission Impossible this weekend in Australia, so I should be giving you an out of theatre reaction as soon as I can. It may finish fairly late here, so I'm wishing I'm going to have enough energy to push that through ASAP. Technically, it's going to be Saturday evening Australian time, which is, I don't know where you're having it in your neck of the woods of the world, but I'll be giving you an out of theatre reaction. I try not to go into much spoilers, just giving a brief reaction to the whole thing. That will be my next one. And until then, my friends, keep rockin'.